Shalom. This is Truth is Everlasting, Lion's Den. I am Yahweh Sop. I camp out with Lion Den, Hawan Ben Yashua in Jacksonville, Florida. But first I have to give a prayer to the Father, to the Son, to the elders, and to the archons and women and children around the world in Paleo Hebrew language. Kal Halayim La Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Ha Rukah Kwabash Mahamah. In the name of Yahweh Shai, in spirit and holy and in truth. Double honors to the 144,000 chosen elect. Double honors to the apostle of GMS. Double honors to the apostle of Lion Den's camp. Salutation to the archons on the four corners of the earth, and to the women and children. Shalom. Okay, well, this came out a couple of days ago. Spirit moved me to do a lesson, a short lesson, okay? The greatest deal of them all. Trump addresses world leaders at Gaza Peace Summit, right? And the title of this lesson, Pride Goes Before Destruction. So I'll play a little bit of it, and then we're going to scripture. Here we go.
Sitting in these first few rows and standing behind me. I don't know why they chose to stand.
Oh, wait, so I think from the beginning, there.
Well, thank you very much, and that was
Slacker.
a great honor. I appreciate it very much, Mr. President, Mr. General, Mr. President, great General, great President. Thank you very much. This is the day that people across the region and around the world have been working, striving, hoping, and praying for. They have done things over the last month that I think were really unthinkable. Nobody thought this could happen. With the historic agreement we've just signed, those prayers of millions have finally been answered. As you know, the hostages have been returned, and further work goes on having to do with the, sadly to say, bodies. Together we've achieved what everybody said was impossible. At long last, we have peace in the Middle East, and it's a very simple expression, peace in the Middle East, and we've heard it for many years, but nobody thought it could ever get there, and now we're there. I want to congratulate everybody sitting in these first few rows and standing behind me. I don't know why.
Okay, let me just stop it right there, because that's the important part that I want to go into scripture with. But before I go into the lesson, I want to go to first to Psalm chapter 55, verse 21, Salakia. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart, in his mind, right? His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords, right? So in other words, what he says or what the people in power, you might say, right? And the JWO, the tiny hats, and what they do is two different things, okay? So we can't go by what they are saying, we got to go by what they've been doing. Not only there, but around the world, and what they're doing here in America with the immigrants and attacking their own people, citizens, right? Because things are getting crazier out here as well in America, so-called America. Now I want to go to Proverbs chapter 16. Give me a minute while I go there. Chapter 16, verse 18, to read it more clear. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Okay? So he can say that he brought peace, right? Which is only words, but the one that can really bring peace on earth is Yahweh Shai, our King, King of Kings and Lord of Lords, okay? I want to go to Proverbs chapter 11, verse 2. When pride cometh, then cometh shame, but with the lowly is wisdom, okay? And the Edomites only use and only can use wisdom from below and not wisdom from above, okay? even though it is Yahweh Bashin Yahushua controlling all things, righteous and wicked. Okay? I want to go now to Proverbs verse 15:33, and then I'm going to pray a little bit more. Give me a minute. Proverbs, I said what? 15, verse 33. The fear of Yahweh Shai is the instruction of wisdom, and before honor is humility. In other words, fearing the Father, right, by obeying the Son is the instruction that will give us wisdom and understanding, right? I'm going to pray a little bit more, and then I'll go back into Scripture. Here we go.
They chose to stand, but I promise I'll make it short, okay? We are not going to keep you standing for long. These are great leaders. After years of suffering and bloodshed, the war in Gaza is over. Humanitarian aid is now pouring in, including hundreds of truckloads of food, medical equipment, and other supplies, much of it paid for by people in this room. Civilians are returning to their homes. The hostages are reuniting. I mean, it's beautiful. I'm just watching it backstage. The level of love and sorrow, I've never seen anything like it. It's amazing when you see they haven't seen their...
Oh, Salakia, I don't control
This is why you
YouTube.
shouldn't buy
Salakia
just
for
one
that.
Matzah
Give me a
knife.
minute.
If you only buy one, you're
seen their mother, their father. They haven't seen them in such a long time, and they lived in a tunnel, very little tunnel, very deep. And the level of love is just incredible. It's a beautiful thing to see. It's, in one sense, it's so horrible that it could have taken place, but in another sense, it's so beautiful to see a new and beautiful day is rising, and now the rebuilding begins. The rebuilding is maybe going to be the easiest part. I think we've done a lot of the hardest part because the rest comes together. We all know how to rebuild, and we know how to build better than anybody in the world. I want to express my tremendous gratitude to the Arab and Muslim nations who helped make this incredible breakthrough possible. And you really did. To President El-Sisi of Egypt, who is so generously hosting us today. And I want to thank you for the outstanding job your country is doing in so many different ways and for helping us so much with this peace agreement. I also want to thank the President for the escort of 6 fighter jets. Oh, we looked out the window, we said, I hope they're friendly, and they turned out to be very friendly. But we had 3 on each side, and they are beauties right out of the great, really American manufacturing hub. We make the greatest military equipment in the world. We have the strongest military in the world by far. And I knew exactly what those planes were, and I knew exactly how much you paid for those planes too. You paid a lot, but you got a pretty good deal. And they are great planes, and we just appreciate it. That was quite an escort.
Let me just stop it right there. You know, where he said he will build because it's easier. I forgot the chapter and verse, Salakia, but it says in, I'm paraphrasing, God said, you will build, but I will, I will throw down, right? So, yeah, they can keep boasting about how great they are, okay? But it is God that, when I say God, I'm talking about Yahweh the Father and Yahweh Shai the Son, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, right? Our King, our big brother, 10 feet tall, dark-skinned Afro, who's coming back, right? And also, I forgot where he mentioned it, that there won't be no World War III, something of that nature, right? So I want to go to, just to bring this chapter and verse that I looked into. Daniel chapter 4, verse 35, right? Because they're getting very prideful, right? Daniel chapter 4, verse 35, and all the inhabitants of the earth are reputed as nothing, and has done according to his will in the army of heaven and and among the inhabitants of the earth, and none can stay his hand or say unto him, what dost thou? Right? Because Yahweh Shin controls all things. Okay, now I want to go to Proverbs chapter 17, verse 19. He loves transgression that loves strife, and he that exhort his gate seeks destruction. And this is right there in front of your face, the Edomites, right? They clapping hands what he is saying, and I'm sure there's a couple of our people that are working as well behind the scene, right? Transgression against the true law of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, right? Disobeying, being participant of this corruption. There's no other word to say it, right? I want to go to Proverbs verse 18, chapter 18, verse 12. Before destruction, the heart of men is haughty, and before honor is humility. And boy, it is coming. Okay, the whole world does not like, okay, the so-called America, all the people in power. They have seen the wickedness, the deceiving, the lying, right? And plus participating with the JWO, tiny hats, for so many years, right? And now that the truth is out, I find it amazing how the people in the army, the generals, they now heard it from the horse's mouth, right? From the president and from the president from Israel, right? Make it clear that they're working hand in hand together. They don't hide it no more. And how the generals don't defend the Constitution that they talk so much about, just to show you how they work together. I want to go to Proverbs chapter 16, verse 19. Oops, what happened? Better it is to be of a humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoils with the proud. And boy, that's what they're doing right there, right? They're going to build, they're excited, because then after they build, they're going to go and have more walls around that area. They're not going to stop, right? As a matter of fact, they're going to, or they are having war with Iran still, right? And let's not forget Russia, China, right? Africa, it ain't going to stop. It's just going to get worse. And things are going to get worse in so-called America because they want to stop everyone and us from speaking out, right? The freedom of speech is going bye-bye, or it went bye-bye. Verse 20, he that handles a matter wisely shall find good, and whoso trusts in Yahweh Shai, happy is he, right? They don't trust or believe in Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, right? They believe in their own pagan gods, okay? I want to leave it with Psalm chapter 2. Give me a minute. Psalm chapter 2, verse 12. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and ye perish from the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed are all they that put their trust in him. But now the Edomites are bringing in that caste society, right? And rest assured that when that does not work, because not everybody's going to comply or take it, they will mandate, right, the MOTV, the microchip, right, that they want to put inside of everyone. Okay? Now, when that happens, and only when that happens, then get ready. World War III, right, is going to then increase. And we'll be seeing, wars global, because they're going to bring that chip worldwide, right? It's not only here, okay? I hope that this was edifying, and with that I say, Shalom.